Everything is shifting right now. And if you've been feeling like something inside you just clicked without any clear reason, this is why. This isn't random, and it didn't start today. What you're experiencing right now is the release of something that has been building for weeks, maybe even months, quietly, behind the scenes, while you were just trying to figure things out and move forward in your own way. And now, all at once, it feels like things are starting to move. Conversations feel easier, decisions feel clearer, and opportunities that felt blocked or delayed suddenly begin to open without you forcing them. But here's the warning, because this is where most people get it wrong. The moment things start working, the first instinct is not trust, it's hesitation. It's that voice in your head that tells you to slow down, to wait, to double-check, to not move too fast, because it feels unfamiliar. And that hesitation is exactly what shuts everything down. Right now, you're not being asked to figure everything out. You're being asked to move when something feels clear, because clarity right now is different. It's not slow. It's not something that builds over time. It shows up instantly, sharp, direct, and almost too simple to take seriously. You might get one idea, just one, and it won't feel complicated or impressive. In fact, it might feel so obvious that you question why you didn't think of it earlier. And right after that, doubt will show up. It will try to convince you that it's too small, too basic, not important enough to act on. But that reaction is not random. The faster you try to dismiss an idea right now, the more important it is. Because this energy is not about overthinking, it's about execution. It's about closing the gap between knowing and doing. For a long time, that gap has been where everything slowed down. You knew what you needed to do, but you waited. You questioned it. You tried to perfect it. And in that delay, the momentum disappeared. But now, that gap is shrinking. And that's why everything feels faster. You're not processing things the same way anymore. Situations that used to sit with you, drain your energy, and replay in your mind for hours or days, they don't stick like that now. You notice them, you understand them, and then you move on. It's not that you don't care, it's that you're no longer holding on to what doesn't belong to you. And that changes everything. Because most of the delay you experienced before wasn't just external, it was internal. It was the time you spent holding on to things that had already passed. Now, there's no lingering. And when nothing lingers, nothing slows you down. That's why decisions feel cleaner. That's why interactions feel lighter. That's why you're not stuck in loops trying to figure out what something meant or how you should respond. You already moved on. And when you move like that, things start aligning in a way that feels almost too easy. And that's exactly why it feels suspicious, because you're used to things being harder. You're used to resistance, to delays, to having to push through obstacles just to make progress. So when things start working without that struggle, your mind tries to create resistance again just to feel normal. It tells you to wait, to slow down, to go back to what feels familiar. But what feels familiar is exactly what kept you stuck before. And this is the test, not of your ability, but of your trust. Can you trust what's opening without trying to control it? Can you move forward without needing everything to feel safe first? Because right now, forward doesn't feel safe. It feels fast, uncertain, and slightly uncomfortable. But that's how you know it's real. This energy doesn't give you time to sit and think the way you're used to. It doesn't wait for you to feel fully ready. It shows you something clearly and expects you to move while it's still open. And if you hesitate, even slightly, you'll feel the shift immediately. The clarity starts to fade, the momentum slows down, and that clean feeling of things just working begins to disappear. Not in a dramatic way, but enough for you to notice that something changed. And it didn't change because the opportunity was wrong. It changed because you stepped out of alignment with it. This is why this moment matters so much. Not because something huge has to happen today, but because of how you respond to what shows up. A small decision made from clarity right now carries more impact than a big decision made from hesitation. Because when you're aligned with your actions, you're not dividing your energy between moving forward and holding yourself back at the same time. And that's where real momentum comes from. You might also start to notice something else happening. Things around you begin to move faster. Timing shifts. If you've made it this far, don't forget to subscribe for daily cosmic insights, astrology updates, and spiritual guidance, because the universe always has a message for you. Conversations that normally take days to happen in minutes. Responses come quicker. Situations develop without the usual waiting period. And at first it feels exciting, like things are finally picking up, but then it becomes overwhelming if you're not used to it. Because speed removes the space where hesitation used to exist. You don't get the same buffer to think, adjust, and prepare before acting. Things show up and they expect a response while they're still active. And this is where people either rise into this or fall out of it. Because the instinct when things move fast is to slow everything down so you can feel in control again. But slowing down is exactly what breaks the flow. Speed is not the problem. Hesitation is. When you trust yourself, speed becomes an advantage. You respond naturally. You act without overcomplicating things, and because of that, everything continues to move. One decision leads to another, one opportunity opens the next, and momentum builds without you forcing it. But when you don't trust yourself, speed feels like pressure. It feels like too much happening at once, and the instinct becomes to step back just to regain control. And the moment you do that, you fall out of sync with what's happening. And that's where most people lose it. Not before things start working, but right when they do. Because success doesn't always feel like confidence at first. Sometimes it feels like uncertainty because you're stepping into something new without the usual resistance guiding you. And without that resistance, you don't know how to measure if you're doing it right. So you hesitate. You pull back. You shrink your actions just enough to feel safe again. And suddenly, things stop flowing the way they were. Nothing dramatic happens, it just fades. And it feels like things didn't work out. But they were working. You just interrupted the momentum. At some point during this shift, something very specific is going to happen. You're going to get one idea, not a list, not a long plan, not something complicated. One idea. And it will feel simple. Too simple. So simple that your first instinct might be to ignore it. But that idea is the entry point. It's the thing that connects everything that's been building to what's about to happen next. And the only thing that determines whether it leads anywhere is whether you act on it immediately or not. You don't lose opportunities because they disappear. You lose them because you hesitate long enough for the moment to close. That's why this is a warning. Not because something bad is coming, but because something good is already here. And the only way to miss it is by not moving when it opens. You don't need perfect timing. You don't need full clarity. You don't need to understand every step before you take the first one. You just need to recognize when something feels clear and move with it. Because right now, clarity doesn't stay the same when you wait. It fades. It gets replaced by doubt, overthinking, and second-guessing. And once that happens, you're back in the same pattern you've been trying to break. But if you move when it's clear, even in small ways, you stay in alignment with this energy. And things continue to open, You'll start to see how decisions you made in the past, situations that didn't work out, and moments that felt random were actually positioning you for this exact time. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was out of place. You were just too early to see the pattern. And now that pattern is becoming visible. And when you see it, something shifts inside you. You stop questioning every step. You stop wondering if you're on the right path. You realize you've been on it the whole time. And that realization removes a level of hesitation you didn't even know you had. This is not about chasing something new. It's about finally moving with what's already in front of you. And if you've been feeling this, even slightly, if something in you feels more clear, more direct, more ready to act than it did before, then you're already in it. You don't need to wait for confirmation. This is the confirmation. The only thing that matters now is that you don't stop yourself the moment things start working. Keep moving, keep responding, keep trusting what feels clear, even if it doesn't make sense yet. Because this isn't random, and it's not temporary. This is what happens when you stop holding yourself back. And if you're claiming this energy, if you're choosing to move without hesitation and stay aligned with what's opening for you right now, comment "I claim it" below and lock this in.